Hello, welcome to the artclasses.com. In this video of how is part of how to draw eyes, and I will explain to you what structure the eyes compose of when you're trying to draw them, and including a little bit of its anatomy, not everything, as only the part that will help you create your drawing and make what's matter within the visual part of what you see in your eyes when you draw. And I also have the video of drawing of an eye, probably a few, and I will have a link over here in a little bit, so you can go there and watch the eyes. But in this video it will help you, either you're just trying to draw the eye by itself, or either this is part of your study and you are trying to be on your way to draw a portrait. That will also help you, because it will help you understand where the light will hit the eyes, and where the shadow will create, and why are things look a certain way, like why certain shadow create a certain way, and what you should be aware of. So the first part I'm going to talk about is a brown ridge, which is where your eyebrows located, and this part usually have change of plane. Some people have a really deep eye socket, so they're under the brown ridge. It will create the change of plane that facing down, so that will create a deep shadow on the above your eyelid. And some people have a really high brown ridge, and some people have a shallow brown ridge. So that's one thing to be aware of, because that's gonna cause a change in your eyes, of changing the shadow and shape, and it will help you understand more why that happened. And upper eyelid, which is this part, and it usually has a crease, even if in some people it has like a really shorter crease, you know, like in some facial feature, and some have a really big eyelid that coming off, like those with droopy eyes or things like that. And that's a lower lid. So lower lid doesn't make much change. It usually stay neutral, doesn't change much, but the eye shape will change a lot with your upper eyelid and brown ridge. But lower eyelid can convey, if you have a lot of wrinkle, and that would convey your ages, so you know you age better. And inner corner, which is that corner of the eyes, and the outer corner, and that's where the tear come out in the inner corner and the outer corner. Usually I'll turn this off. You have a little corner over here and a little hole around here somewhere, just right there. Those are the corner of the eyes. And the iris, which you know, where most people are brown, and some of them are blue, green, gray, whatever color is. Pupil, the pupil is always black, because that's where you get the picture going into your eye anatomy. The cornea, which you can't see here, but I'll show you in a little bit. So from that part, I showed you the drawing of an eye with a bunch of parts: upper eyelid, lower eyelid, which is here. And if you notice, on this iris with lower eyelid and upper eyelid, unless you're trying really hard to, open up both of your eyelid, then you will see the whole iris. But usually in a normal situation, if you notice, you don't get to see the whole iris. So your eyes pretty much on the natural state, just like that. You just close probably most half of the iris, and I think part of it is to protect too much light going in, and that's pretty much all you need on your eye level. You just kind of don't see the whole thing, so be aware of that when you draw the eyes. So when you get to see the whole iris, that means it's a state of emotional, like surprise or amaze or something like that. So, and now we're going back to the side view. So that's why this is the eyelid over here, this upper eyelid, lower eyelid, and that's why you see the cornea. The cornea is the part that are curving out on top of your iris. It's just a lens that cover your pupil and your iris, so it's on top of the iris, so that's the cornea. And if you wear contact lens, you probably know what the curve kind of look like. So this your eye look like the whole balls, and then cornea is the thing that cover on top of it. So and iris, of course, we already explained, and now I'm going to explain to you that's the shape of the whole ball, and this is the cornea. That's the part, the lens that cover is kind of a clear protein part of the body, and that's the upper eyelid, lower eyelid. And when you are drawing the eyes, the light will usually hit top of the eyelid, and it will cast a shadow over here, and the lower eyelid and a little lower part of your iris. So I'm going to show you what is. So you see this part of this iris, or this part of the whole eyeball, is lighter than the rest because the shadow creating by that upper lid, that casting the shadow. But you can still, sometimes you can get to see the light, because the light's coming from the top. You can get to see the hot spot. So that's where I'm trying to. And then on the lower lid, you see a little bit of shadow underneath there, and then most of the time, this part, lower eyelid, catches the light. And see the lower part, you got the cast shadow around, and then you cast a little shadow underneath the lower eyelid. So that's what I'm trying to explain. That's where the shadow happened, and the lower eyelid of the underneath the eyelash, and the upper eyelid below the eyelash, and on top of the iris, or the lens itself. So yeah, and that's what you have to be aware of. And most of the time, you probably don't draw eye in that detail for your portfolio or anything like that. You might just want to study or do it for fun. So most of the time, you don't even need to go into detail. You just need to put the whole face together and notice where the light and the shadows are. Like this one, he has a really high brow ridge and deep eye socket. So you generally have a pretty dark shadow underneath it, and you just see a little bit here and there. And if you want more detail, you can always go in and adding more detail to make it look realistic or lifelike. But in general, you just want to know where what the shapes are, and how dark and how light it is, and that should be sufficient enough in drawing a portrait. But it's always good to know the depth of a subject that you want to draw. So those are the things that will help you understand why the light and the shadow. Because in drawing, what I'm most concerned about, I talk about it on most of my video, is a form or line drawn first. You got a solid structure, and then you're gonna want a correct light and shadow to get your drawing good. And also, on some people that has not so deep of the brown ridge, or have a shallower eye socket in some people. So most guys have, like, especially a Western Caucasian male, have a deep eye ridge. Also maybe Middle Eastern, they also have like a deep eye socket, or the brown ridge. And female usually have a shallower brown ridge, and they got softer feature. They don't need to be that angular. And some of the feature that you paint, the eye ridge, the eye socket is not even almost, there's just slightly little bit, just different change of plane, if you notice, like over here. So they are really not that much of a eye socket also. So in some facial feature, and also some facial feature has a stronger lower eyelid, and some of them have like a really thin top lid. So when you drawing eyes for each facial feature or different facial feature, you have to kind of notice. And sometimes if you look up, you might not get to see the upper eyelid at all, because your eyes kind of push it back up there. So, and sometimes this is sufficient enough for me. I don't need to draw everything like the inner corner and have all those detail, or outer corner to have all detail. You just need a major light and shadow, and You got to put everything into the correct place, and I think that's what's drawing and painting is all about. No one's is going to just draw an eye just to draw an eye and then perfect an eye, and I'm just going to be happy with it. You draw an eye, I just assume that you practice drawing an eye so that you draw a portrait and all those things that will help you create a good piece of illustration and art. Anyway, so yeah, here's how to draw eyes and all those structure that might help you to draw, creating light and shadow. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and in the end I'll have a bunch of tutorial that you can click, how to draw face and another part, facial feature part that you can draw, that you can go and take a look at. Alright, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.